Oh my gosh.
皆さんこんにちは。何語？もう一回。
母語。
皆さんこんにちは。ケミュシチャンネルのロレッタと
ブーマーです。
あと
リリーちゃん。
スペシャルゲストリリーちゃん。私たちのワンちゃん。
ワンちゃん。
So here's the full story. We post a moving day vlog on our second channel, on our vlog channel, and everyone's been asking,
yeah, but how did you actually move your dog? How did we do it? Didn't you have to quarantine your dog? What were the steps?
We want you to watch the full video on our second channel. You can ride on the plane with us with Lily in cabin. But today I wanted to go through just a few of the actual steps and the things that helped us along the way. The actual logistics, how we moved our dog in cabin from the United States to Japan.
Yay!
Yay! For those of you who are actually thinking about moving to Japan and bringing a pet with you, there are just a couple of things that we wanted to point out first. If you do already have your dog or your cat, your pet, and you're thinking of flying abroad with them, try to do it when they're healthy and when it's best for them.
Are they in good enough health? Are they too old?
Not every dog should fly. You know, not every pet should get in a plane. It's not a nice experience for them most of the time. So really consider what's best for them, and I'll leave that up to you. When we first got Lily, it was really important that we had a small, compact dog.
Yeah.
So when you're first even getting your dog, if you can, try to get a compact dog and one that doesn't have the snub nose because they're not travel friendly. Those are not travel friendly dogs. Most airlines won't even fly them anymore. The cost, you have to buy your dog a ticket, the vet visits, the cost of having a dog, that's going to greatly increase your rent most likely. It's going to make it hard to find cheap apartments. So if you're trying to live the cheap life in Japan, maybe bringing your pet isn't the best option for you.
Try to find a vet who has done this before. Every country is going to have their own set of rules. It makes it easier if your vet knows what to do.
Having a vet that's done it before makes it a lot easier and helps you stay calm through the whole thing. So
Our vet's great for everything.
Call the airlines and check which ones are best. Some of them don't even ever allow pets in cabin. Sometimes they only allow one per flight.
If you have a huge cage, it's not going to fit under the seat.
So shop the airlines. Don't move over for the first time and bring your pet with you. If you're going to bring your pet abroad, you're going to want to focus on them during the flight and not all of your stuff as well. You're essentially getting your dog a visa. So get yours first, get theirs, and then you're ready to go. So, into the steps. Want to go to the vet?
Lily, do you want to go to the vet?
Who wants to go to the vet?
Who wants to go to the vet?
Yeah. Give you some rabies shots. So to start, if you Google dog import Japan, then the first website that comes up is the MAFF, the math website. And it looks a little bit rickety, but that is indeed the website. That is the actual website that will give you the directions of how to import your dog to Japan. You're probably from a non-designated area, and the whole point of this process is to keep rabies out of Japan. It's an island, they don't need that festering. So they've separated this whole process into 8 basic steps and put it into a guide that you can download off the website there. It's a PDF, it's in English, Korean, Chinese, and Japanese. What's actually happening in those 8 steps is you're putting an ID microchip under your pet's the scruff, basically. You're making sure that it doesn't have rabies. Then you're waiting to make sure, that's what the whole quarantine is. Your country, your home country clears you to leave with your dog, and then Japan clears you to land with your pet. That's really what's going on behind the scenes, but they've separated into 8 steps, which look like this. So step 1, the microchip implanting. This is the most important thing. That's to make sure that this little baby doesn't get lost and that they know who it is.
It does matter which order you do these steps in, so follow the order.
If you're doing it with someone who speaks Japanese, that makes it a lot easier. First of all, they're really nice.
They're the best Japanese government agency experience that we've had so far. Their communication, number one. Ichiban.
Yeah, we use Narita Airport, but they have a 24-hour staff. They're all bilingual to a degree. The first time I emailed them in English, and I asked them can we do certain things out of order because we were trying to book our ticket for a certain date. And I was wondering if we could do the microchip and the antibodies and the rabies tests out of order. And in English, they're like, no, do not do it out of order. Do it like this. So I re-emailed them in Japanese and I was like, in your guide in Japanese, it says that you can do this specific step out of order. There's an exception to the rule. And we kind of want to take that exception for our case. Is that okay? And they're like, in Japanese, oh yeah, no, totally. You can totally do that. Yeah, completely. That'll be fine. The point of that to say is that if you can speak Japanese, it makes the process a lot more clear and easy.
And they respond faster.
And they respond
They'll
faster.
respond faster.
And so they did the microchip, and then the first rabies vaccination, which is a normal thing. They did the first rabies vaccination at the same thing. And then we filled out some paperwork and got to know our vet, and we left. Step 2, we do another rabies vaccination.
30 days later.
Yeah, just to be sure. They took a blood sample. And they mailed the blood sample to a specific lab. The actual MAF website tells you list in your country of which ones they accept, so you can just read that there. The vet will mail it off for you, you don't do anything, and then you just wait. So this was like the biggest question. Everyone was like, did you have to quarantine your dog? Like, is she in a cage, or is she like locked away?
Nope.
No. Like literally...
The quarantine period is literally a waiting period where you just wait.
Like, your country is the quarantine.
You just wait to make sure signs of rabies do not develop.
As you get closer to the date that you're actually going to fly, at that point it's basically time to buy your ticket, call the airline, tell them you're bringing a dog, don't book it online, call them. So now you have to start emailing, not at the airport or whatever, import quarantine office that you're talking with, and you have to do what's called an advance notification.
It's like a pre-clearance check, essentially. They're saying like, oh, this looks good, there shouldn't be any problem.
And at that point, you book your ticket.
Yep.
Honestly, I would recommend buying your ticket as early as possible, but make sure you get a refundable one just in case you need to move the date. Keep it flexible, because you may need
ideally during the week you're going to need to get clearance from your local government, and there's also a specific time period within which I think it's 48 hours. So it's easier to do that during a weekday as well.
The next step is the clinical inspection before departure. That's essentially you go back to your vet, they make sure that they haven't developed anything weird and unusual.
Yeah, and it's just essentially to check to make sure they're in good health and they don't have rabies.
At that point, you're going to start printing out the form that's on the MAF website. There are forms that you need. You have those forms, you bring them to the vet, and they start filling in the information. This is when you're starting to gather your paperwork. Once you have those forms filled out and stamped and looking good, this was the thing that was confusing, because on the MAF website they say that Japan wants you to do your final clinical inspection within the last 48 hours, then get the government signed document, and then get on the plane. That's how Japan said they want it done. The American side says do it as early as possible, don't come into our office and mail the forms.
Do it within 2 weeks. There
was a little bit of mismatch in information of when you should actually do it. We did it within 48 hours, and it was really a crunch. The office is in New York, is in a very difficult place to get to.
We took the subway to the JFK stop, and then we took an Uber
the rest of the way. It worked out, it's fine. But basically, you take the forms that your vet gave you,
mail them, or
send it to the USDA office, and they will stamp it on that day with a huge raised embossed seal, and they'll use blue pen ink and all of this official stuff. They have to stamp every page, they have to use the right pen ink. You then take those forms, and according to the MAF website, it's the final step, step 8. You fly to Japan with your dog.
And if everything's in order, then they give you an import certificate, and you just leave. You just walk out of the airport.
And that's it. And then you go register your dog at the ward office, and like it's all great.
And they give you little tags, and that's it.
The thing that was most confusing to me, actually what happens at the airport, the actual flight day. Does the airline need these forms? Does somebody need a copy? How do you go through security with a pet?
No, you have to buy a ticket, but your dog doesn't get issued a ticket. How does the airline even know? I mean, you have a receipt for it, but that's about it.
We used United because they allow in-cabin pets. They
did, at least when we did it.
If you got a soft case, it was allowed to be a little bit bigger because it squishes. Getting like little water bowls, or should you get like the little hamster bottle thing? How does your dog go to the bathroom? We put a bunch of like wee pads and everything in there for her. She slept the whole way.
She was really good.
The actual airline does not need any forms. They just need you to call ahead and to actually like tell them that your dog's on the ticket. And then like for security, you just hold your dog and walk through the X-ray machine. Your dog does not go through the luggage X-ray. No. It goes with like the human X-ray. We flew out of Newark. They have like pet areas where you can go to the bathroom while you're waiting in the airport, and that's nice.
And also, specifically for Japan, you're going to want to get a direct flight. But essentially, you have to have more paperwork that you're going to have to get signed and stamped and all of that stuff. So it's best to get a direct flight.
This is where you're going to start dropping some extra cash because you want the direct flight, you want the nice seat. If you're using like an airline that's run by another airline, ours was United, but it was powered by ANA. I called ANA,
Yeah.
they said, no, you cannot fly with the dog in cabin. They're like, as long as we're running the flight, you can't have a dog in cabin. And I started freaking out, because like, what? But United said you can. So then I called United, and they were like, no, you can as long as it's one that's through us. Really nitpicky things like that you kind of have to like navigate. Just call. Ask everyone, show them your papers, like just be really transparent and keep showing them and asking them, bother people, be annoying. You want to do it right. That was our worst nightmare, that like what happens if they tell us that it's wrong and she has to go under. Like we were like, leave a lot of wiggle room and ask a lot of questions. Once you get to Japan, what happens? You get off, you go through, what's it called, immigration.
Yeah, immigration like you normally would.
He picked up his visa, and then we walked down to where you pick up your luggage. You walk over there, they scan her chip and like, make sure there's not like rabies coming out of her mouth, and then like
not really though.
Yeah.
They didn't even really inspect her. I was surprised. They kind of like pulled her out of her cage, scanned her chip, checked that it insured, and then just was like, okay, you're done, bye.
But it was a lot easier than it came off. Like we basically went there and they were like so good with her. They're like, kawaii Lily-chan, passport wa? Passport motte masu ka? Passport misete kudasai, Lily-chan. They were like playing with her, and then like they're essentially like, yeah, I mean she's good. Go. Yeah. They take you to customs and say like, this dog's good to go. You're good.
Yeah, and they have like a little piece of paper they give to the customs person, and then that's it.
And then you walk out into the wonderful
world of Japan.
Into the sunrise land, and you're good to go.
Still one more very important thing we have to do.
This is like bonus level.
Yeah.
So we had been on a direct flight for 14 hours.
Yeah.
She had slept the whole time, but obviously by the time she woke up, then she's like, I have to go to the bathroom. Unlike back in the States, we couldn't really find like a pet relief area. Like, if you've ever flown to Narita, you probably know when you walk out, like there's no grass.
No.
It's a sidewalk in bus stops and then a parking lot. Like there's no grass.
Yeah.
So we're like, where do we take our dog? And Lily's like, I gotta pee. So eventually we asked, and they said like there's like a little flower park and like
yeah, it doesn't even have grass, it has like stones.
But they're like
just go there, make sure to throw some water on it after she pees.
Yeah, they're like, that's your area. So we just took her over there. Then extra bonus level, getting your actual dog from the airport
to wherever
you live. Maybe at this point it might be a good idea to get like a pet friendly hotel and maybe like rest for a bit, because you're already like exhausted at that point. But you can ride the Narita Express, you can ride JR trains with your pet, but you just have to purchase a special ticket for them. Back into the pet case, you get on the train, and then you go home. And then from then on, it's all like you go to the ward office, register your dog, and live your best life. Register for the dog runs at Yoyogi Park.
Yeah.
And meet some more pupper friends. Everyone in your neighborhood loves you. You're not just the scary foreigner, you're the cute foreigners with the cute dog.
You're the scary foreigner with a cute dog, so you're a little less scared.
We've gotten so much closer to our neighbors. It took a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of money. It's not hard, it's just a lot of steps.
Yep.
But thankfully they are all...
They're listed
out in the guideline, pretty straightforward.
In the correct order, yeah.
And the office at Narita or whatever airport you come to, they're
fantastic.
Great. They're 24/7, they're bilingual, they're great. So
yeah.
It seems stressful and it seems like a lot. It's not that bad. As long as your pet is healthy and in good condition and it actually makes sense, it's not that big of a deal to move your pet abroad. Lily was so happy, like the first day she got here, she's like, everything smells so different. We have like a park that's like right next to our house, and she like ran through it for days too. Like, so that's our story of how we moved our dog to Japan. We have a full video step by step where you get to fly with us and you get to go to the vet, you get to go and do everything with us below the video, and it'll be here as the video is ending. So if you have any questions, leave us a comment below, but really if you have any questions, just email the quarantine people.
Yeah,
that's the best people to ask. では、今日もご視聴ありがとうございました。We will see you in another video, and until then, have a great day! Mwah!